What's up, guys? My name is George, and today we're going a bit off schedule. I know I promised to do the video about the best feature about every single zombies map in the game, but I ran into a huge hiccup when getting all my footage and applying it into the video. All my footage from the World at War and Black Ops 1 maps disappeared, just without a trace. So I had to go back, get that footage again, sometimes not even including the stuff that I want to include, and just sacrificing the fact that I need to change up my schedule. But I promise I'm putting out a video. So this week's video, we're doing a breakdown about World at War zombies. I want to focus one game at a time, talk about what happened in each game, and talk about how it impacted the zombies game as a whole. So without further ado, let's talk about World at War Zombies. And there was really nowhere to go but up because this was the starting point for zombies. Flashback to 2008, you just finished the Call of Duty World at War campaign. All of a sudden, you see this. All of a sudden, you wake up finding yourself locked in a room with nothing but an M1911, two grenades, and an unlimited horde of zombies coming at you. You have only one mission: survive. Call of Duty Zombies almost did not happen. The developers of multiplayer thought that they had a lot more time than they did, started tinkering around with some of the character models, finding to make them walk very eerily. So they decided to try to develop a zombies game mode. However, with the less time than they actually thought that they had, they almost canned the idea entirely, leaving out the game mode. Thankfully, they actually made it in time and it ended up being a huge success. However, you could still see the limit that World at War Zombies had at the time. All that you really had were a couple rooms, a mystery box, a couple of wall buys, and a horde of zombies just running after you. There was not much else. However, everything introduced in Nocturne and Totem ended up being staples for the rest of the franchise. So let's break down each of these one by one. First, let's start with your inventory to start the game. You start off with a measly 500 points, an M1911 with a total of 40 shots, and 2 grenades. This does not sound like a lot, and that is for a purpose. The M1911 is notorious for being the weakest weapon to ever touch the game. 2 grenades aren't going to do much, and you do have a knife, but it becomes really useless after the third or fourth round. So this encourages the player to actually buy other weapons. This loadout will continue all the way until Origins, where they give you a brand new weapon to start off with. However, it does act basically the same way as the M1911 until you upgrade it. Also, going along with that, Black Ops 3 introduced a new weapon to start off with as well. In most of the maps, it's the MR6, while in Shadows of Evil, you get the Bloodhound. Once again, both weapons act the same exact way as the M1911, just with a different skin and different reload animation. The only other thing that's on your heads-up display is a round counter, and everyone knows what a round counter is. Simply put, the higher rounds you get, the more difficult the game becomes. You determine how well you do based on how many rounds you survive. Looking around the starting room, you see 5 barricades and 2 wall weapons. This will remain a staple with every map in World at War besides Vruckt. And Vruckt is a completely different situation. We'll get to that later. Anyway, the 2 wall weapons will remain a staple throughout Zombies. Every map after Noct includes 2 wall weapons in the starting room. Vruckt technically has one on each side, but it's still both a starting room, therefore there are two wall weapons in both starting rooms, so it still counts. Once again, these weapons are notoriously weak. The only reason for their existence is so a player can pick them up and get a couple extra points out of them before moving on to the next weapon that they want to buy. If a player gets enough points, they can open up the barricades and have access to more wall weapons, and more importantly, the mystery box. The mystery box is another staple in zombies. Spending 950 points gives you a random gun out of the box. This is integral to zombies because the best weapons are in the box, therefore incentivizing the players to gamble for those weapons. Every map after Nocturne and Toten also include the mystery box, but they had a new tweak to it. We will get to that as well. The box did house one more weapon that, if you never played the campaign and did the secret mission, you would have never seen before, that being the ray gun, the first wonder weapon in Call of Duty Zombies. The ray gun is another staple in Zombies. The ray gun has been in every single map ever since Nocturne Toten, and it will continue to be in every single map going on. With all that being said, Nocturne Toten was basically complete. There was still a lot of ideas that the developers had on the table that they wanted to include into Nocturne Toten Zombies, but they just couldn't because of the time crunches. However, they decided to take those ideas and implement them into their next map, Vruckt. Vruckt added a lot to the idea of Call of Duty Zombies that the developers originally had. First off, they actually had voice acting. This was the first map to introduce that, however, it wasn't the characters that we all know and love today. It was actually just generic American Marines, one of them actually being Tank Dempsey, but we wouldn't know that because he just sounded like all the others. On top of that, the spawn room mechanic was completely redone. Now, instead of all four players spawning in one room, you had two players spawning in one room and the other two spawning in another, not being able to reunite until power was turned on. This made things tricky if you're playing with less than four players. With four players, you would have two on one side and two on the other. But less than that, you would always have one side that only had one player, making it impossible to revive that player if they ever went down until you turned on power. Another key feature that was added going into Vruckt was the moving box. Before in Nocturne Toten, the box would stay stationary and would not move locations. Now, after a certain amount of hits, there is a chance that a teddy bear would actually come out of the mystery box, meaning that you get refunded your 950 points, but the box is going to move to a different location, making you go out for a search in order to get it. This wasn't too big of a deal because the box always started off in power. By the time you got to the box, you already had power set up and a couple decent wall weapons that you could buy instead. Plus, more than half the map was open, so there was a chance that the box was in a location that you already have opened up. I almost forgot to mention the power switch. This is the first time the power switch has been introduced into zombies. Its main purpose is to activate all the power throughout the map, and the power is used for traps and for perks. Both are making their first appearance on this map. Let's start with the first four perks ever introduced into zombies. The first perk we're going to talk about is Quick Revive, and it did not act the same as it does now. Back in World at War, it was 1500 points, and by buying it, you can revive your teammates quicker. And that's it. You did not have the option in solo to buy for 500 points in order for it to act as an extra life. This was not introduced until Black Ops 1, meaning that Quick Revive was useless in solo games. Possibly the most important perk introduced was Juggernaut. For 2500 points, you can essentially double the amount of damage you can take from zombies. So before buying it, it would take 2 hits for you to down. After buying it, it would take 5. This was a crux perk when it came to zombies, meaning that every zombies player always bought Jug no matter what. The next perk is Double Tap, and for 2000 points back in World at War and Black Ops 1, You essentially doubled the amount of fire rate of your gun. This was a pro if you had a slow shooting gun, but if you had a fast shooting gun with high recoil, this would make you recoil more and make you burn ammo more. However, in the later games, Black Ops 2 and 3, it would also make it so that when you shot one bullet, two bullets would come out of your chamber instead, making it more useful. However, this was still a pretty useful perk back in the day. The final perk introduced into World at War was Speed Coolant, and for 3,000 points, it will increase the speed of your reload, which was actually very useful. Light machine guns became much easier to use because of the increased reload speed, essentially making them much more useful. Perks were not the only things now active on the map. If you turn on the power, you would also now have access to traps. If you went to certain doorways and interacted with them, for 1,000 points you would turn on an electric field through those doorways, making it so that any zombie that goes through would instantly die. However, it's not safe for the player to go through those electric fields either. If you went through those electric fields without Juggernog, you would instantly die, and if you went through them with Juggernog, you would take some damage, making it more vulnerable for the zombies to kill you. This was a double-edged sword, and a lot of people use these for high rounds in order to progress through the really tough zombies. With all of these additions, the zombies community slowly grew. Players loved the new additions of the perks, making it easier for them to survive longer, and also the moving mystery box was a nice little variety when it came to the box instead of just getting a gun every time you spun it. However, the next map would surely put zombies on the map as a staple. Shinonuma was the next map, and it brought in a lot. The first thing was an explanation to the zombie outbreaks. Outside the map, you can see a meteor with a blue crystal inside. That blue crystal is element 115. With every single member of the facility interacting with element 115, it turned them into zombies, and thus that's why they're always attacking us. This is also where we learn about our main crew. Takeo, the hardcore, honorable Japanese samurai. Tank Dempsey, the American vet who is really hating on all the others. Nikolai, the drunk Russian who says everything about his wives and drinking vodka. And Richtofen, the psycho German scientist who has been experimenting with element 115. Also first introduced in the map is moving perk machines. Instead of the perks being in set locations, there are certain huts around the map, which when opening up those huts gives you access to a random perk, whether it be one of the four main perks. In later iterations of Shinonuma, the quick revive machine is moved into the spawn room and is replaced in the huts by Mule Kick. Therefore, you can open up a random door and see Juggernaut in the first door you open or the last door. It really all depends on luck. The box got a cool new mechanic where if you looked up in the sky, you can roughly see where the box location is if it ever moved simply by looking at a blue light beaming down from the sky. On top of that, the box got its new biggest addition, the first wonder weapon besides the ray gun ever introduced into zombies, the Wunderwaffe DG2. The Wunderwaffe is an infinite damage weapon where it can chain together a total of 10 zombies with a single lightning bolt, essentially vaporizing them on the spot. It could get you out of a corner easily, however, back in World at War, there were a lot of bugs. First of all, you could get splash damage from the Wunderwaffe, meaning that you could possibly die if you weren't careful and accidentally shot the Wunderwaffe too close to you. On top of that, if you had Juggernaut and took splash damage from the Wunderwaffe, it would essentially make it so that Juggernaut did not work, making Juggernaut absolutely useless after you get splash damage from the Wunderwaffe, making the Wunderwaffe very undesired as a super powerful wonder weapon for some reasons. However, even though it did take away Juggernaut, players got skilled enough in order to use it without taking the splash damage, making it a very desired weapon. On top of that, it was super easy now to get the high rounds because even though the ray gun was a good wonder weapon, it would peak out at around 20 or 30 before it started making a lot of crawlers and therefore making the ray gun almost useless. However, with the Wonder Waff being infinite damage, 3 shots would instantly end the round. Also introduced into Shinonuma, we now have dog rounds. Dog rounds are rounds where a bunch of hellhounds spawn randomly around the map, chasing after you. They are much weaker than the other zombies, but they are much stronger. And by killing all of them at the end of the round, you are instantly rewarded with a max ammo every single time, making it so that max ammos would spawn more frequently and making high rounds much easier. World of War Zombies also had a quirk where it would only spawn 24 zombies at a max per round, obviously less for the lower rounds. Meaning, with an infinite damage wonder weapon with recurring max ammos coming every 5 to 7 rounds, plus infinite damage traps around the map just in case you run out of ammo, it would essentially make high rounds a breeze on Shinonuma, making it one of the only maps where it's easier to get high rounds in World at War versus the remakes. Fans love this map. The Wonder Waff was a godsend for players who lacked in skill compared to the more hardcore players. The character quotes were witty and super funny in most cases, and high rounds were so much easier now because of dogs and the Wonder Waff itself. And the next map only improved on all the love when it came to Call of Duty Zombies. Dirt Race was the next map up and the final map in World at War. And this map improved so much in the Call of Duty Zombies main gameplay that every feature that has been in it has been a staple going on. The first one I want to talk about is the Bowie knife. For 3,000 points, you can buy the Bowie knife off the wall, which replaces your standard knife. Now, the Bowie knife is a one-hit kill until round 8. So, if you were looking to get some extra points in the mid-rounds, you can pick up the Bowie knife and get some extra knife kills, making it so that you can rack up those points easier, giving you extra spins at the box or more points in order to get the perk that you need. The Wonder Waff made its righteous return back in the Reese, making it just as popular as it was before. But on top of that, we now have a brand new item in the box. This time, it's not a weapon, but instead a tactical grenade called the Monkey Bomb. The Monkey Bomb is a simple monkey with TNT strapped to the back that, when thrown, will play a song that will attract all the zombies in the area, essentially making it so that you can get off a quick revive on your teammate before the monkey would blow up, attracting all the zombies back to you. Now you do not have to wait until the end of a round in order for you to revive your teammate. You can simply throw a monkey bomb and go and get the res. However, the most influential addition in all of Call of Duty Zombies history was the Pack-a-Punch machine. By linking all 3 teleporters back to spawn, you now unlock a machine where if you put your weapon in for 5,000 points, you get an upgraded version of that weapon. It comes out much more powerful with a brand new name, and it is truly a step in another direction when it comes to high rounds. Now you can go further into rounds using the weapons that you like instead of having to rely on the wonder weapons. Altogether, with the addition of teleporters, the monkey bombs, the Bowie knife, and Pack-a-Punch, Durice became an instant classic. For the longest time, a lot of players considered Durice to be the best map of all time, based on how perfect it was. The layout, the weapons, the Pack-a-Punch, the teleporters, everything seemed perfect with this map. Even in Black Ops 2 and Black Ops 3, this was still ranking in the top 5 for best maps of all time. However, if you were a player back in the day, your favorite memories were of this catwalk. You were just camping up here with the PPSH or whatever was your favorite weapon back in the day, chilling out with friends in the lobby, getting to high rounds while joking about what was going on at school. Those were the best memories of people who played this map back in the day. And it's easy to see why. It's a very chill area, and it's one of the best camping spots in all of Zombies history, maybe besides Barry's little camping spot right by Juggernog. However, for the more hardcore players, a lot of them will also notice that the first Easter egg also came out of here and never really gave a reward to the players, but it was still an Easter egg nonetheless, and one to take note of, known as the fly trap Easter egg. By going to this little panel over here and shooting it with a pack-a-punch weapon, you'll hear a quote from Samantha in the original map telling you that she wants to play a game. All of a sudden, you'll see a bunch of toys flying in the air above you, and now you have to go around the map and find these toys. In the Giant, it's updated and the toys are in different locations, but either way, you go around and you shoot them with the Pack-a-Punch weapon, and you hear more quotes. At the end of the Easter egg in the original World at War map, you don't get anything from it. In the Easter egg on the Giant, you actually get the Annihilator from it, the specialist weapon of this map in the game. The Annihilator is not too good of a specialist weapon, but it's still a nice reward and a callback to the original Easter egg that started all Easter eggs in Call of Duty Zombies. With all that being said, the race was highly regarded as a great map, and overall, World at War Zombies was what players needed in order to start getting invested into zombies itself. I remember starting off in Nocturne and Toten and not even realizing that you can open up the first door. Now here I am starting up YouTube videos, and it is honestly one of my favorite things in the world to play. I honestly love this game mode, and it wouldn't be here today without World at War Zombies and these developers decided to tinker around with old multiplayer maps. Anyway, that's going to do it for me, guys. Thank you so much for listening in on the history of World at War Zombies. Please leave a like, subscribe, follow me on Twitter, and I'll see you guys in the next one.